If things go wrong in the world, it is because something is wrong with the individual, because something is wrong with me. Therefore, if I'm sensible, I shall put myself right first. For this I need, because no outside authority no longer means anything to me, I need a knowledge of the innermost foundations of my being, in order that I may base myself firmly on the eternal facts of the human psyche. We found out that there's a big difference between shame and guilt, and a big difference between conscience and superego, between empathy and just the veneer of niceness. And we've also learned something about suffering, the nature of suffering. It's summarized by Arno Gruen. He says, in our society it is not those who suffer that are weak, but those who fear suffering. People who have made the most successful societal adjustment actually turn out to be the weak ones. To conceal this fact, the well-adjusted have for millennia been propagating the myth that sensitivity means weakness. They are the ones who perpetuate a distorted view of reality, that is, the ideology of power and domination. He says, the strength that grows out of sorrow, distress, helplessness, illness, and bitter pain has to do with the kind of transcendent experience that brings inner fortitude, which is not contingent upon external power and its constant need or reaffirmation. The suffering involved in discovering one's own self is of an entirely different nature from the suffering that opts for salvation by identifying with something outside the self. Only those who can endure their own suffering are capable of establishing themselves as a separate entity. Robert Johnson says that suffering is the inevitable path that must be trod on the way to consciousness, the inevitable price for the transformation we seek. By no means can we escape it. We who try to evade it never succeed, and we are twice unlucky, for we pay the price anyway, but miss our transformation. There is a terrible and immutable law at work. We only transform when we take our suffering consciously and voluntarily. To attempt to evade it only puts us into the karmic cycles that repeat endlessly and produce nothing. Arno Gruen, on the same matter, says that to bring such people back to what they rejected about themselves so long ago means to accompany them on a journey of self-confrontation so painful that suicide, an outbreak of psychosis, or some other dire result may ensue. And I want you to meditate on what he just said there, because it's not just the individual who's going through this. The whole of society does. Nations do. The avoidance of who we all are, done on a colossal scale, has an impact on our civilization.